I'm Beata Nowakowska. I'm from Willow Company, and I'm gonna tell you about how to show things instead of speaking about them. So, have you ever felt irritated by people trying to convince you about something? I felt. Have you ever taken part in the experiment that show you something and change your life forever? Well, I have. So when I begin my job as a Scrum Master, I decided that I will show people things instead of explaining it to them. I work with a team that took 3 or 4 stories for a sprint, and they didn't deliver business value. So it took them 4 or 5 sprints to deliver any business value. So I wanted to convince them to split the stories into smaller pieces from which each delivers business value. But they told me that it is simple impossible in this technology. So I wanted to show them how to do that. I conducted very simple experiment called Elephant Carpaccio. You give people simple tasks and you ask them to deliver it in 10 sprints, 3 minutes each. So they were about to deliver business value every 3 minutes. But what I heard was, "Oh my God, Beata, you're trying to convince us again. It is impossible. We told you so." So at the end, they splitted the story into 10 pieces, but it didn't get the trick. Well, I've read the switchbook, and it tells that there are 3 conditions that needs to be met to make people change their ways. First condition is direct the rider, and the rider is a metaphor for a conscious, logical part of our brain. So he needs logical reasons. Then you need to motivate the elephant, and the elephant is this big, older part of our brain that's not conscious, that's very emotional, and that needs vision, that needs wonderful future heading ahead of him to make him change their ways. But even if he see the vision and the future seems really nice, he still needs one thing more. He needs to see the path very clearly, because he's a coward, despite the fact that he's so big. And he needs to be familiar with the path he will be going through. So, I thought maybe it's not about the shaping the path for that team. Maybe it's about the rider. So I made some statistic for the team. I counted on what probability they are delivering the stories based on their size and the whole history of the team. And of course, they delivered the biggest story with the lowest probability. So it did the trick. The team changed their ways. But I get to know that after a while, because the meeting was as unpleasant as the first one. They told me that they are irritated, that they have enough convincing. And it was because I didn't take care about the safety. So if you want to convince someone about something, it is really important to take care about the levels of safety in the room. So what can you do? First of all, become professional. Be the one person that's on time on the meeting. Be prepared. Have the goal. Have the agenda. Have the expected outcomes of the meeting. And when you're professional, become their friends. Become someone that obviously wants something good for them. Learn facilitation techniques. Learn coaching techniques. Learn how to navigate the conflict. Be the safe part in the room. It will make your team understand you better. It will make them want to hear what you want to tell them. But sometimes it's quite hard to tell which condition is not met. So in that cases, cold cycle of learning gets in handy, because it goes through all the 3 conditions that need to be met to convince people. So you're starting with directing the elephant. So you're creating some exercise that will show the reasons. For example, if your team do not get the feedback from the customers very often, you can do something like that. You divide people in pairs. One of them is a customer, and have very simple geometrical drawing, like few pieces, few circles and few squares. And the other person is a customer, is a creator, and have blank piece of paper and a pencil. And the customer says what he wants. He explains what's on the picture. And the creator cannot ask any questions. He just draws. And after 2 minutes, you let them show each other the picture. Guess what? I never saw identical picture. They're not even close. So, when they see the pictures, make them make observations. Ask them what they can conclude from this experiment. Ask them, is it reminding them about some real situation? Make the connection with real life, with their own customers. And when you see in their eyes that they're getting to understand, they started to get excited, they started to talk about their real customers, you see that the elephant gets motivated. And when he is motivated, he needs one more thing, shaping the path. So now's the time for the next experiment, for shaping the path. So, for example, in this case, you can create some exercise that will tell the team how to get feedback from the customer. You can do something about non-violent communication, for example. Make it easy for them. Make getting feedback from the customer something familiar for them. But it's still not everything. If you want to convince people, even by showing them things, being charismatic gets in handy. But isn't charismatic something that you are born with? Who of you thinks that charismatic is something you are born with? Okay, some people think that. Olivia Fox-Cabana, author of the book Charisma Myth, claims that no one is born with charisma. In fact, everyone learns it. But some of people learns it at the very early stages of their life, when they're 1 or 2 years old. But even if you're not the lucky one, and you not learn them that early, you can still do that. For example, Bill Gates did that. And on Olivia's blogs, you can find the movies from the beginnings of his career when he was not yet charismatic at all. And from the end of his career, when he had all 3 kinds of charismatic behaviors. So, what are the charismatic behaviors? First, behaviors of power. But having money and having influences are not the biggest obstacles in the power behaviors. It appears that the biggest obstacle is self-confidence. Have you ever felt that you're not very skilled in what you do and you were afraid that others will notice? If you did, you're not the only one. 70 to 80% of the whole population feels it from time to time. It's called imposter syndrome. And the more intelligent you are, the bigger probability there is to feel imposter syndrome. But what happens with your body language when you feel imposter syndrome? You get some fractures on the face. It's visible that something's wrong. And what think the other person that you're speaking with? Well, we are self-centered. So the other person think it's about them. So they think that something's wrong with them. It's hard to be charismatic when you're showing people that something's wrong with them. So if you want to be charismatic, get rid of the imposter syndrome. The second kinds of charismatic behaviors are behaviors of presence. So, have you ever think about something else while speaking with someone, when you were supposed to listen to them? Well, that's very common, for me at least. And do you think that other person is noticing it? Well, even if she doesn't notice it consciously, it takes only 17 milliseconds in changes in your body language to other person to notice it unconsciously. And what she feels at that moment is that you are unauthentic. And unauthentic people are not very charismatic. So, how to deal with that? One of the easiest way is to focus on some part of your body. For example, on your toes. So if you catch that you're thinking about something else, think about your toes for a few seconds. It will get your mind back to the conversation. I have one experiment for you. I want to show you something during this presentation. Look around you and find all the red things in the room. Now close your eyes. Close your eyes and think about blue things in the room. You can open it now. Is it hard? That's because we tend to focus on one subject. And our brain focuses on disadvantages or advantages of other people. And if you want to be a charismatic person, you need to focus on advantages of other people. If you do not notice them now, it's probably because you have this habit of looking on disadvantages. So to be charismatic, you need to change your habit. It gets your mind to focus on the advantages. So, let's sum up. How to show people things. First of all, become charismatic person. These are 3 simple charismatic behaviors. Then create safe atmosphere at the meeting that you want to show something. And then think what condition is missing. Is the rider does the rider understands the reason? Is the elephant motivator? Or maybe the team does not see the path clearly. And if you don't know, use the code cycle to show all of them. That's it. Thank you very much.